Look closely at the heavy, ancient pages of the Bible you grew up reading. Between the lines of Genesis, standing behind the towering image of the angry God commanding vast armies, drowning nations, and demanding the scent of burnt animal sacrifice, lies a cosmic secret so profoundly dangerous, it was violently erased from human history. You have felt it your entire life. A quiet, persistent whisper in the back of your mind telling you that this physical world, with all of its unspeakable suffering, relentless disease, and systemic cruelty, could not possibly be the pure creation of an all-loving infinite being. You were explicitly told to suppress that feeling. You were commanded to label it as a sinful lack of faith, told that God's ways are mysterious and beyond your understanding. But that deep, intuitive discomfort you felt was never a sin. It was an awakening. 2,000 years ago, an entirely different narrative existed. A narrative hidden within forbidden texts, buried deep beneath the sands of the Egyptian desert. These texts contain the core of Gnostic teachings, a profound cosmic revelation that completely overturns everything humanity has been taught about the divine order. The ancient texts reveal a terrifying truth. The Creator God, depicted in the Old Testament, the entity who jealously demands obedience and punishes generations, is not the true God. He is an impostor, an arrogant, blind architect known as the Demiurge, who trapped divine sparks of eternal light inside heavy, decaying material bodies to feed off their spiritual energy. If this truth is shaking your foundations, you're not alone. Stick with me, because what we're about to reveal next will change how you see reality forever. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Don't let the Archons keep you in the dark. But humanity was not left abandoned in this dark, dense material prison. According to these heavily suppressed scrolls, Jesus did not come to earth as a gruesome blood sacrifice to appease the wrath of an angry deity. Instead, he was an advanced emissary from the highest, uncorrupted realm. He was sent to deliver a crucial key, Gnosis, or hidden knowledge. His true mission was to wake us up from this dense, physical simulation, to expose the Demiurge, and to reconnect our souls directly with the absolute, infinite source of all pure light and consciousness, known as the monad. When you finally understand this paradigm, the heavy chains of religious guilt instantly evaporate. You stop viewing yourself as a miserable, broken sinner begging for mercy from a tyrannical creator, and you begin to remember your true origin.
How they grow.
Part 1. The Tragedy of Sophia. To understand how you ended up trapped in a physical body, paying taxes, experiencing heartbreak, and fighting to survive in a universe governed by entropy and decay, we have to look far beyond the creation story of Genesis. Long before the physical universe even existed, there was the pleroma. The pleroma is the fullness of the monad, an infinite realm of pure, unadulterated consciousness, immortal light, and eternal harmony. Inside the pleroma, the monad emanated distinct aspects of itself, highly advanced spiritual beings, known as aeons. These eons existed in perfectly balanced pairs, masculine and feminine, reflecting the absolute equilibrium of the Supreme Source. One of the lowest and youngest of these eons was named Sophia, a Greek word meaning wisdom. Sophia was filled with an overwhelming, burning desire to understand the absolute depth of the monad. Her passion to create and to know the unknowable became so intense that she attempted to emanate a new being on her own, without the vital participation of her masculine consort, and without the direct authorization of the monad. In the pure spiritual realm, intention manifests reality instantly. Her unauthorized, unbalanced desire resulted in an anomaly, an abortion of the spiritual realm. Sophia looked in absolute horror at what her unchecked passion had manifested. It was a misshapen, terrifying entity, often described in ancient Gnostic texts as having the body of a serpent and the face of a roaring lion. Its eyes flashed, with destructive fire. Overwhelmed by shame and terror at the sight of this grotesque anomaly, Sophia immediately cast the creature out of the pleroma, hiding it within a dense, thick cloud of ignorance so that none of the other immortal aeons would ever see her catastrophic mistake. In casting him out, she inadvertently gave him a portion of her own divine light. This entity became known as Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, the blind god. Because he was born in isolation, wrapped in a thick void of darkness, and cut off from the pleroma, Yaldabaoth opened his eyes and saw absolutely nothing but himself. He had no memory of his mother, Sophia, and no awareness whatsoever of the infinite monad above him. Looking into the empty void, possessing stolen divine power but entirely lacking divine wisdom, he proudly declared, "I am God, and there is no other God beside me." This arrogant declaration echoes perfectly through the pages of the Old Testament. The Demiurge truly believed he was the ultimate supreme being. Fueled by his own profound ignorance and immense ego, Yaldabaoth decided to build a kingdom. He took the dense, chaotic matter of the lower void and began to shape it. He created the physical universe, the galaxies, the stars, the planets, and the cold, harsh laws of physics that govern them. He created a realm defined by duality, time, space, and decay. This is the universe we currently inhabit. It is not a beautiful masterpiece crafted by a loving father. It is a flawed, mechanical imitation of the pleroma, designed by a traumatized, blind architect who fundamentally does not understand the nature of pure love. Part 2. Archons and the Energy Harvest. Yaldabaoth did not stop at simply building the physical universe. He needed administrators to manage his massive mechanical prison. From his own distorted essence, he spawned a legion of entities known as the Archons. The word Archon translates to rulers or authorities. These beings are the architects of the Matrix. They are devoid of the divine spark. They possess zero creativity, zero empathy, and zero independent life force. They are entirely parasitic in their nature. They are cosmic bureaucrats, wardens of the material realm whose sole purpose is to maintain absolute control over the simulation and ensure that the Demiurge remains the supreme dictator of his artificial kingdom. In the ancient texts, the Archons are described not as physical monsters, but as inorganic, interdimensional programs. They are the blind governors of planetary spheres, the masters of fate and astrology, desperately trying to lock human destiny into rigid, predictable patterns. But there was a massive structural flaw in Yaldabaoth's design, because he and his Archons lacked the true creative essence of the monad. Their universe was dead. It was entirely mechanical, completely devoid of consciousness. It was a ticking clock waiting to wind down, a vast simulation running on empty, lifeless code. To animate his world, Yaldabaoth tricked humanity. When he fashioned the first human bodies, Adam and Eve, they were lifeless meat suits, entirely immobile on the dirt. They were synthetic biological hardware lacking an operating system. Seeing her son's failure, and in a desperate attempt to recover the divine light she had lost to him, Sophia secretly intervened. She tricked the Demiurge into breathing the spirit of life into the human form. When Yaldabaoth blew his breath into Adam, the stolen divine spark, the pneuma, passed from the Demiurge directly into humanity. The reaction was instantaneous, and it terrified the false gods. Suddenly, the human beings illuminated with a brilliant, blinding light. They possessed an inner consciousness, a limitless imagination, and a spiritual potential that vastly outshined the Demiurge and all of his Archons combined. Yaldabaoth realized his catastrophic mistake immediately. He had accidentally given away his power to his own creations. Humanity now contained a direct, undeniable link to the monad, a divine spark that the Archons could never possess. The biological hardware had just been infused with infinite source-level software. Terrified of this superior potential, the Demiurge and the Archons panicked. They quickly built a heavy, oppressive system of limitations to suppress the divine spark. Because they could not extract the spark, they had to bury it. They trapped the human spirit in heavy biological bodies, driven by primal, animalistic urges, hunger, lust, pain, and physical exhaustion. They manipulated human biology, effectively shutting down our innate spiritual sight to blind our connection to the higher realms. They introduced the brutal concept of linear time, creating the ultimate biological weapon, aging, and the perpetual fear of physical death. They constructed a localized reality driven by intense duality, good and evil, light and dark, predator and prey. By forcing humans to constantly choose sides and fight each other, they engineered a system designed to keep humanity in a perpetual state of survival mode, constantly generating low-frequency emotional energy. This brings us to the most horrifying revelation of the Gnostic texts, the concept of the Loosh harvest. Because the Archons do not have their own internal source of divine energy, they must feed. They are energetic vampires operating just outside our spectrum of visible light. They feed off the energetic emissions of humanity. Every time you experience profound terror, paralyzing anxiety, burning jealousy, or violent rage, your consciousness emits a specific, heavy frequency of energy. In esoteric sciences, this energetic currency is known as Loosh. The Archons harvest this Loosh to sustain themselves and to power the grid of their artificial matrix. They literally thrive on human suffering. Frequencies of joy, unattached gratitude, and pure love vibrate too high and too fast for the Archons to consume. It burns them. But fear, depression, trauma, and anger are dense, heavy, and easily metabolized by these parasitic entities. Are you tired of being an energy battery for this matrix? If you've felt this spiritual drain, hit the like button right now. Let's signal the algorithm that the sparks of light are finally waking up. This is exactly why the world is structured the way it is. Look at your daily reality. Look at the 2-4-hour news cycle, entirely dedicated to broadcasting tragedy, fear, and division. Look at the algorithms on your smartphone, precision engineered to trigger your outrage, force you to compare your life to others, and plunge you into deep psychological inadequacy. Look at the economic systems designed to keep you in a constant state of debt, stress, and artificial scarcity, forcing you to trade your irreplaceable life force just to survive another month. Look at the religious institutions demanding that you fear a vengeful God, begging for forgiveness on your knees, while threatening you with eternal hellfire. This is not flawed human nature. This is flawless Archon engineering. The system is functioning exactly as it was perfectly designed to. It is an elaborate, interdimensional farm, and humanity's emotional suffering is the primary crop. The endless societal conflicts, the manufactured crises, the perpetual state of emergency, these are not random tragedies. They are mass harvesting events. The Archons need you to remain completely asleep, totally identified with your temporary physical body, distracted by endless synthetic desires, and entirely oblivious to the immortal, invincible spark of the monad hiding quietly inside your chest. Part 3. The True Mission of Christos. The Archons were absolutely convinced that their system was impenetrable. They believed the divine spark was buried too deep to ever be recovered. But they were wrong. We are now moving into the most guarded secret of all, the rescue mission. Before we continue, pause for a second and comment, "I am ready," if you are prepared to hear the truth about the Christos. They had successfully locked the divine spark inside dense physical avatars, wiped human memory clean at birth, and constructed a relentless, high-stress environment designed to extract every ounce of emotional energy for their survival. They had effectively weaponized time, decay, and survival instinct to keep humanity looking downward, completely obsessed with the material realm. But the pleroma, the infinite realm of the monad, was not blind to this immense cosmic tragedy. The true, unknowable Father, operating through the perfect harmony of the high eons, recognized the agonizing captivity of the divine sparks trapped within Yaldabaoth's mechanical nightmare. A rescue mission was necessary, but it could not be a physical invasion. If the pleroma were to simply destroy the physical universe, the divine sparks entangled within the heavy matter would be destroyed along with it. The extraction had to be surgical. It had to be an inside job. This is the true, hidden context of the arrival of the Christos. According to the suppressed Gnostic Gospels, Christos was not a human man who was suddenly chosen by the Creator God, nor was he the biological son of the angry, jealous Demiurge of the Old Testament. Christos was one of the highest, most perfect aeons of the pleroma, a direct, uncorrupted emanation of the monad. To enter the physical simulation without triggering the massive, automated defense mechanisms of the Archon grid, the Christos consciousness had to carefully descend through the various layers of density, cloaking its infinite light to avoid detection. When it finally entered the physical plane, it merged with the human vehicle known as Jesus. This event was not a cosmic blood sacrifice ordained by a wrathful deity demanding payment for human sins. The very concept of original sin is a fabricated control mechanism designed by the Archons to ensure you are born into a state of perpetual debt. You owe them nothing. The true mission of Jesus was to act as a system hacker. He entered the Matrix to inject a highly disruptive code directly into the human consciousness network. That code is what the ancients called Gnosis, the profound, experiential knowledge of the divine truth. Jesus did not walk the earth to establish an authoritarian, hierarchical church. He did not ask to be worshipped on your knees. He came to hold up a mirror to the divine spark hiding inside your chest and remind you exactly who and what you are. If you read the forbidden Gospel of Thomas, which was deliberately excluded from the canonical Bible by the Roman Empire, you will see a completely different Jesus. You will not find a Savior demanding blind obedience or terrifying you with threats of eternal hellfire. Instead, you find a master teacher telling you that the kingdom of heaven is not a physical place located in the sky, nor is it an event waiting to happen in the future. He explicitly stated that the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. He taught that when you come to know your true self, you will realize that you are the living children of the living Father. This profound teaching was the ultimate threat to the Demiurge. If humanity realized that they possessed a direct, internal connection to the infinite monad, the entire control structure of the Archons would instantly collapse. The priests would become completely irrelevant. The temples would empty out. The massive harvest of fear, guilt, and emotional suffering would completely dry up, and the Archons would starve. Therefore, the Matrix retaliated with absolute violence. The ruling authorities, acting as unaware agents of the Demiurge, captured the physical avatar of Jesus and executed him in the most brutal, agonizing way possible. They truly believed that by destroying the physical body, they could extinguish the disruptive light he had brought into their domain. But this is where the Archons made their most catastrophic miscalculation. They did not understand the nature of the pleroma because they cannot perceive anything beyond their own localized, low-frequency dimension. While the physical body of Jesus hung dying on the wooden cross, the immortal, invincible Christos consciousness simply detached from the biological vehicle entirely unharmed. In the Gnostic text, known as the Apocalypse of Peter, Jesus is depicted as laughing above the cross, completely untouched by the violence below, mocking the blind ignorance of the Archons who thought they could murder eternal light with physical wood and iron. Unfortunately, the empire that murdered him eventually realized they could not stop his message from spreading. So, in the 4th century, the Roman Church executed the greatest psychological hijacking in human history. Under the direction of Emperor Constantine, They gathered the texts, heavily edited them, burned the profound Gnostic Gospels, and hunted down the teachers who possessed the true Gnosis. They took the ultimate liberator and twisted his image into a symbol of guilt. They took the hacker of the Matrix and transformed him into the primary enforcer of the Matrix. They told you that the Demiurge was your true father, that you were born broken, and that the only way to avoid eternal torture was to submit entirely to the authority of the Church. They effectively sealed the prison doors once again, hiding the key in plain sight for the next 2,000 years. Final step: escaping the Archon Matrix. To break free from this heavily guarded material prison, you must first understand the ultimate trap the Archons have designed to keep you locked inside the cycle of suffering. This trap activates the moment your physical body expires. For thousands of years, near-death experiencers and esoteric traditions have consistently described a very specific phenomenon at the point of physical death: a tunnel of bright, warm light, often accompanied by the comforting presence of deceased loved ones or towering religious figures. We have been deeply conditioned by society and religion to run directly toward this light, believing it is the ultimate embrace of heaven. But according to the deep Gnostic understanding of the cosmic architecture, this light is the grandest deception of them all. The tunnel of light is an artificial construct, a highly sophisticated technological soul catcher designed and operated by the Archons. When your consciousness detaches from your physical body, you are incredibly vulnerable and disoriented. The Matrix immediately projects holographic representations of your deepest comfort, your grandmother, your favorite pet, or the savior figure you worshipped in life. They welcome you, they wrap you in an artificial sensation of profound love, and then they initiate the life review. They force you to watch every single mistake you ever made, every moment of pain you caused, and every selfish thought you ever entertained. This is not for your spiritual growth. It is a calculated, devastating weaponization of your own empathy. Once you are thoroughly crushed by the immense weight of manufactured guilt, the entities disguised as guides will solemnly tell you that your soul is not quite perfect yet. They will convince you that you have accumulated a heavy karmic debt. They will insist that you must return to the physical realm to learn more lessons, to balance the scales, and to finally get it right. Because you have been conditioned to believe in your own unworthiness, you agree. The moment you give your consent, your memory is completely wiped clean. Your infinite consciousness is violently compressed back into a tiny, fragile infant body, and you are dropped right back into the trauma-inducing matrix to serve as an energy battery for another 80 years. This is the wheel of reincarnation. It is not a cosmic university. It is a maximum security prison disguised as a school. But the cycle ends the moment you acquire Gnosis. Gnosis is not something you can learn by simply memorizing a book. It is a profound internal activation. It is the sudden, undeniable remembering that you are an eternal, sovereign spark of the absolute monad. When you truly integrate this realization, your daily interaction with the Matrix changes completely. You stop reacting to the artificial fear broadcasted by the news. You stop engaging in the bitter, manufactured divisions of politics. You stop feeding the Archons your precious emotional energy. You learn to observe the chaos of the world without absorbing it. You become a pneumatic being, a spirit-driven consciousness navigating a heavy physical simulation, entirely aware of the game being played around you. When your time in this physical vehicle finally comes to an end, you will not be confused. When the artificial tunnel of white light opens and the holographic entities appear to judge you, you will not bow. You will not accept their life review, and you will absolutely not accept their fabricated karmic debt. You will stand in the full, blinding authority of your true origin and declare your spiritual sovereignty. You will look at the wardens of the Demiurge and state clearly, "I am a child of the monad. I am from the eternal light, and to the eternal light I now return." Because you no longer vibrate at the frequency of fear, guilt, or submission, their magnetic trap will completely lose its grip on you. The grid will shatter around you, and your consciousness will immediately ascend past the localized realms of the Archons, piercing straight through the firmament, returning directly to the profound, infinite peace of the pleroma. If this deeply hidden truth resonates within your soul, and you can feel the heavy chains of religious programming finally breaking, do not let this profound awakening slip away. The time of blind submission is over. Subscribe now to join our collective of awakened spirits, reclaiming their divine sovereignty. Leave your declaration below. I am of the Monad. 2. Claim your freedom, and I will see you back in the light. Go home, divine spark.